Hello, hello, hello. This is Gresh from the I Am CEO podcast, and I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Mike Jezoshek of JETRO. Mike, it's awesome to have you on the show.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me. I think you hit my last name perfect. Usually when people try to say my last name, it comes out in all sorts of sounds and uh, very well job done there.
Yeah, there you go. Don't. You saw what I've been doing for the whole week, just practicing to make sure I get it right. So I'm definitely glad I nailed it. Practice makes perfect, they say, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, what I wanted to do was just read a little bit more about Mike so you can hear about all the awesome things that he's doing. And Mike is the founder of JETRO, a modern day digital accounting firm servicing small business owners across the country. Mike has spent the majority of his career as an entrepreneur. He was CFO and co-founded several companies and has experience in all business stages. He set out on a mission to help businesses that have seen and lived the same experiences he did in business. Mike has both a bachelor's and master's in accounting and is a certified public accountant. Mike, are you ready to speak to the I'm CEO community?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. So the first question I had was to kick everything off was to hear about what I call your CEO story and what led you to start your business.
Yeah, so basically, I've been in, like you mentioned, I've been an entrepreneur all my life, and so it's always been in kind of different industries. I started at a young age in the online marketing industry, and when I started in that industry, kind of just worked into different areas of that online marketing industry. And I was at the same time going through college, so got my bachelor's and master's in accounting, started to get on the finance side of that marketing industry, got the CPA license, so really kind of wanted to also kind of push that experience that I got on that end. And so when I was going through college and going through that different stages in the entrepreneur journey, I've co-founded multiple companies, again, mostly in the online marketing industry, and been partners with others as well. And the last stop was at a CFO of an online marketing company, which I was also a part owner of. And what I realized when kind of working in that industry is that there was a lot of need for an accountant that was just modern day, more focused on kind of the digital age, just catering to that younger generation. The industry that we were in was much younger generation. Everyone was working remotely. And, when I looked out there, there wasn't a whole lot of options out there. So that's the time when I decided about 6 years ago to go off on my own, start an accounting firm and kind of make it that digital accounting firm, that firm that most, that the typical accountant, it's not really around out in the country now. So that's what we made 6 years ago, and we've been digital since the beginning and ever since then. And really just kind of set out on a mission to take those experiences that I had starting companies, seeing companies grow, seeing companies sell, take those experiences that I learned and work with other clients, work with other business owners that are facing those same challenges that I faced. Let them know things that I've learned, failures that I've had, and take that experience that I had to help business owners in accounting, bookkeeping, taxes in that realm, in an area that a lot of business owners might not be, that experienced in.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And a lot of times because you're working with so many different, businesses and types of, I guess, legal formations, you kind of have to have, or you don't have to have, but it really helps to be able to have, some of that experience to kind of lean on. But I also love the fact that, like you mentioned, like I considered accountants and kind of CPAs in the finance industry to be a little bit more old school. So the fact that you have that new edge on it, I think is definitely something that's, super awesome that you guys are building it and you have built. So you might have already touched on this. So I guess if somebody does reach out to you, could you take us through a little bit more about what it is that you do and how a client gets started with you?
Yeah, so, we're a digital accounting firm, which a lot of people say, what does that mean? It basically just means that we work with clients all around the country. We have employees scattered around the country. So we have a small team of us here of 7, but we're all kind of scattered around. We all work from home, and we work with clients remotely and digitally when we're working with them. And everything is cloud-based. So that's our key, is to try to avoid paper at all costs, move everything to the cloud, and encourage our clients to do the same thing. So we work exclusively with business owners. We obviously do personal returns, personal tax for business owners, but most of our focus is 100% lasered in on small business owners. And, we do accounting, bookkeeping, taxes, payroll, we have packages built out for a full service offering so that they can come to us and really have that where we're touching every point of their business. Some clients we only do one of those services for, and we work with another professional to handle the other service for them, but we do have that offering there if they need it. And when it comes to how we work with small businesses, we take a much more proactive kind of hands-on approach. So we don't just say, okay, let's prepare and file your return at year end. We'll say, let's dig in and let's use tax planning throughout the year, and let's really kind of key in on your business. How can we help you grow? How can we help you out, instead of just being that kind of doer in the background that produces financials or produces paper to you that you really don't understand or know. So that's really our goal, is to take that hands-on approach, working with our clients on a more daily basis.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, because a lot of times, I think it's a wrong approach, or I shouldn't say wrong, but maybe not the best approach to actually look at your taxes only around April 15th and then when you need to actually file. But it's something that you can be doing on a regular basis. And it's great that you guys are that one-stop shop where literally anything related to that you guys can kind of help out with. So, and I know you might have already also touched on this, but I wanted to ask you for what I call your secret sauce. And this could be for you or your organization, but what do you feel kind of makes you unique and sets you apart?
Yeah, so again, it's kind of that digital firm, that digital space where, a lot of people have this idea of an accountant, of someone that they have to go into their office, they throw them a box of receipts, they go to work, they come back, they give them a tax return, whatever it might be. The one thing that we do differently, again, is that digital space. So we take that need of having to have that face-to-face meeting outside of that accountant. So we don't need to have those face-to-face meetings, and we can have Zoom calls or video calls and things like that, but they don't need to take time out of their day and travel out of their day to come to us to really kind of be able to service them. And we we look at our clients as a partner of them. So we're that CPA or accountant partnering with our clients. And so we always say we're working for our clients. They're not, we're working for our clients to help them in their business as a partner of some sort. So again, working throughout the year, right? Having those hands-on, not just one touch point during tax season. And a lot of our clients like that digital idea because we're much more modern, innovative. And so everything that they use, their accounting program, it's in the cloud. So they access it wherever they want it, wherever they need to. They can open up access if they have partners, if they have another advisor of some sort that needs to see their financials. They can open up access and see live data at any point in time. And so that's that kind of modern, innovative approach that goes in with being a digital firm, is easy access to their financials and more up-to-date financials, because we're able to update it on a more regular basis. And another thing about our services, we try to let our clients and have our clients let them know a good idea of what they're going to be paying, what they're getting for that paying, and no kind of surprises. So we have a flat monthly fee. Clients know exactly what they're paying, what they're getting for it ahead of time. At the end of tax year, there's no kind of surprises or also, oh, here's a big bill for this type of work. We let clients know up front that it's usually a flat monthly fee. And one other thing that we do at our firm, we take kind of helping out the less fortunate or giving back really seriously, and we tie in our clients with that. So based on performances that our clients are working with us on, we're taking those metrics and determining how we're giving back. So for example, this last tax season, we gave back and we helped out those that are helping feed homeless. So we kind of worked with a program where they help recover meals that are left over from, say, restaurants and things like that. Mm-hmm. And so they take those meals that are left over and work with these companies to donate them to the homeless. And so last year alone, just this past tax season, we donated over 1,600 meals and 2,000 pounds of food. And so we always like to say that that's our clients kind of doing that work for us. We base it on the amount of tax returns we do. So we take that into consideration, and we really see that feed off on our clients. A lot of clients will come in and say, I think that's an awesome idea. I really appreciate you kind of doing that for us. We're going to do the same thing. For every deal we close, we're going to donate this. Or for every, contact email that we send out, we're going to do this. And so that's kind of another approach that we take is giving back and encouraging our clients that as a business owner, we're often we're much more fortunate, and kind of realizing that and taking some of the funds that we have, tie it to the business to give back to others.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And I love kind of like the energy that it provides. A lot of times, sometimes, whether it be business owners or even individuals, sometimes you don't realize the impact that you can have. But when you're able to couple that together, as you guys have been able to do, where all your clients have been able to provide all those meals for the homeless, for the people that are less fortunate, I should say, that makes a huge impact. And then it, like you said, manifests itself in a lot of different ways where the clients start to incorporate that into their products and their services and their sales as well. So that's awesome that you guys are doing that. And I wanted to switch gears a little bit and ask you for what I call a CEO hack. And this might be an app, a book, or a habit that you have, but something that makes you more effective and efficient.
Yeah, so this one might be seem kind of weird, but I think as a business owner, as a someone that's just working in more of an office environment, getting up and kind of doing exercise and getting out of that just funk of always sitting in front of a computer for 8, 10 hours, whatever it might be. So one thing that we have kind of implemented in my life is I drink a lot of water during the day and a lot of coffee during the day. And every time I take a bathroom break, I make sure that I do some types of exercise. So that could be sit-ups, or that could be a plank, or that could be a push-up, whatever it might be. But what it does is it helps take my mind off of, it gives me that break. So instead of just running to the bathroom, running back to my office, I'm actually taking time away. Not only is it obviously a little bit healthy, I'm not doing full workouts or anything,
Mhm.
but it's at least getting my body movement and kind of taking my mind off of work for that little bit of time it takes. So it's something that's worked really well for me. It helps me kind of stay energized, refreshed during the day. You're just getting that something different that kind of pushes you through the rest of your day.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. It's funny because I usually say I work out usually at the end of the day, and I say that usually helps me break up my day, and it does help you you can continue to work if you want to, or you can go on to something else. But that little workout or whatever does that. But incorporating that into every little aspect of the day, if you're going up to go to the bathroom, I love that kind of hack because it kind of gives you the opportunity to kind of break away, actually get some time away, and then come back and be even more energized. It sounds like.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Nice. And now I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO nugget. And this is a word of wisdom or piece of advice. Or if you can hop into a time machine, what would you tell your younger business self?
Yeah, so it really comes down to tax planning, and tax planning. Um, with the IRS code, there's nothing wrong with a strategy that you plan out and build out to avoid making a payment to the IRS. The IRS code doesn't avoid against that. And so what we say is tax planning is really the financial defense of your business. And so when you're growing your business, there's kind of two areas where you can grow that business. Financial offense is driving more sales, increasing revenue, and financial defense is cutting costs. And so we tell our clients, for most people and most business owners, their biggest cost, or at least top five costs, is always going to be taxes. And so it makes sense to focus as most of your financial defense time on how can we cut taxes, how can we minimize our tax bill. And the beautiful thing about focusing your financial defense on tax planning and really kind of making it something that you focus on throughout the year is that it guarantees results. And so you can put a bunch of money into a marketing plan and potentially grow your business, but there's no guaranteed results there. With tax planning, we implement strategies with clients and we know exactly how much it's going to save. It's guaranteed to have those savings to them. There's no surprises. There's no, if someone comes in, walks through that door, our sales are going to go up. It's just more guaranteed. So we make tax planning a real priority in our business and try to enforce that on clients, that taxes are not tax forms that get filed to the IRS. Taxes are planning to minimize them. And that form that you file to the IRS at the end of the year, that's just a summary of what happened throughout the year. But the real work and the real tax savings comes way before that, way before year end, where you're kind of implementing those strategies throughout the year.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And it's funny because you get the playbook of what exactly are going to be the taxes or how it's going to be structured. And like you said, you have a proven strategy if you execute on according to whatever your business or organization is doing. But if you execute that, then that's going to give you those tax savings as long as you execute on that. But you have the playbook of what exactly you need. And it's just a matter of executing that. So I love that CEO hack and CEO nugget, I'm sorry, and that reminder as well. So now I wanted to ask you my absolute favorite question, which is the definition of what it means to be a CEO. And we're hoping to have different quote unquote CEOs on the show. So Mike, I wanted to ask you, what does being a CEO mean to you?
That's a great question. I think it's a really kind of all-encompassing answer that comes to it. But one of the main things when it comes to being a CEO is really to lead. And it's to lead not only clients and people that you're working with, but also your employees. Being a CEO means that other people are doing a lot of the work or a lot of the day-to-day activity that needs to go on in your business. But that CEO part is making sure everything's getting done, making sure that you're representing your company the way you need to. And by doing that, you need good leadership. And I think that if you have a CEO or you're in a position where your leadership is maybe not the level it needs to be, you're going to see that in the output of whatever your company might provide. And so I think when it comes to being a CEO, the first thing is you're a leader. You're a leader to clients. You're a leader to employees, and you're helping them better themselves. So it's not necessarily for the company, but looking out further and saying, how can I make my clients a better business? How can I make my clients better people? How can I make my employees better people? Make them able to, just advance in their careers, advance in their lives, and experience things that they want to experience. And I think another big thing about being a CEO is being held responsible for the output that you're making. And so I think that those two kind of coincide, together, is that you're responsible at the end of the day as a CEO. You're the one that's responsible for whatever comes out of your company, whether that's good or bad. And that's where that leadership comes in, is if you want that output to be good, you need good leadership so that whatever you're kind of desiring to come out of your business, organization, whatever it might be, you have that leadership that everything else is kind of following down from yourself for that. And, finally on the CEO part, I think it's really about having a mission higher than yourself. When you start a business, when you're working to, you're making a career for yourself, that's great. You're one piece of that puzzle. But I think the biggest thing about CEOs is that they have a mission that's much more higher than themselves. They're looking to help others in whatever area it might be that their business works in, but they're looking to help others advance technology, whatever that might be, that goes way beyond whatever happens in their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that kind of three-pronged definition, just because it incorporates every single aspect of, what I would echo as well too, for being a CEO. And it's a great reminder to understand like all the impact that you can have, whether it be like, having a great mission, or of course the leadership as far as the clients, and then also of course the people that are working with you. So Mike, I truly appreciate your time. What I wanted to do was pass you the mic, so to speak, just to see if there's anything additional you can let our readers and our listeners know, and then of course how best they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, just to kind of touch on, tax planning is one key thing, but over and above that too, I always stress this to clients, bookkeeping should also be your number one task on what you're looking to focus on your business. Not only does bookkeeping make tax season easy, but bookkeeping should be really that kind of foundation for your business, that core start on where your business is growing from. So it makes tax season easy, but throughout the year, it can be so helpful to you. You can compare your financials from this year to last year, see what went up, what went down, how things changed. If you started a marketing campaign in January, you can look at your bookkeeping, you can look at your financials to see what happened in March, what happened in April. Has that made sense? Can we make, should we do it again? Should we invest more money in advertising based on the response from that? And, bookkeeping, again, it's something that needs to be done regularly. A lot of small business owners don't think of bookkeeping is very important in their business. And then at the end of the year, they have this big pile of stuff that they need to get done. And so doing it regularly is not only going to help in that tax season piece, but it's also, again, going to help your business grow, understand where you've been, but also use that information for budgeting, forecasting, and see where you're going to go based on prior information. And there's one kind of story that I always tell when it comes to bookkeeping. We had this client that came to us. They haven't done bookkeeping for 3 years. So we go back, do all their bookkeeping, get it through them. We're walking through the financials with them, and there's this software piece line item, and they're like, what's in that software piece? And we're drilling down, and they're seeing multiple subscriptions that they've been holding on to for 3 years that they have never even used. Wow. And so they're paying monthly subscriptions on items that they've never used before. And it's small dollars. It's $24 a month here, $50 a month here. But it's things like that you can catch. You can do cost cutting because you're actually seeing these things on a regular basis, and not just, $25 out of your month, out of your bank account every month might not be that noticeable to you. But when you see it on paper, you're like, holy cow, I mean, that times 5 can make a big deal. So that's what we say, outside of tax planning, bookkeeping, together should be the number one priority of a business. So As far as reaching out to us, you can catch us online. So our website is www.jetrotax, and that's JETRO tax.com. We also have a podcast. So we do a small business tax savings podcast where we share little tidbits of information. I try to make it quick and easy so so listeners aren't just inundated with a bunch of information. So it's little quick tidbits. So if you search Small Business Tax Savings Podcast, you can find it that way. You can go to taxsavingspodcast.com and our information will be there as well. If you want to reach out to me via email, our email is sales@jetrotax.com. And obviously any kind of social media site or anything like that. If you're adapted to the good old-fashioned phone kind of communication, our phone number is 844-EASY-CPA.
Awesome. And we'll make sure to have all those links in the show notes as well. So Mike, I truly appreciate you and I hope you have a phenomenal rest of the day.
Yeah, Gresh, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right. And I'll cut it off here.
What was on your list?
All right. So Mike, I appreciate you. We just did your interview and I know you had some additional information about a tax strategy that you do and implement, for the clients that you work with and thought you would be really good for the tribe as well. So I wanted to give you the mic and see anything additional you wanted to let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes down to the first, there's endless tax strategies, but really it kind of starts at one area and then you can just keep building on that one strategy. And our number one strategy that we always implement to small business owners immediately is the S corporation strategy. And so there's kind of two caveats on when does it make sense to do the S corporation. The first time is when we say once your revenue hits $30,000 to $40,000 or more, the S corporation is a no-brainer tax saving strategy. Anything under that, it's not necessarily going to hurt you, but some of the tax savings might be outweighed for some of the additional costs that it takes to do an S corporation. And so the second reason is if you're in a state like Tennessee or New York City, sometimes they have different laws within those states specifically that can be, kind of eaten again to some of the tax savings that you see on the federal side. So Tennessee is a good example. S corporation is not a good idea, but for the majority of states and businesses out there, 30,000 to 40,000 or more in profit, the S corporation strategy is a valid and an often used strategy to help minimize that tax liability. And basically what it's doing is if you're not set up as an S corporation, let's just say you're a single member LLC or a sole proprietor, you pay self-employment tax on 100% of your income. And what the S corporation does is it splits your income into two pieces. A salary and a dividend distribution, owner's draw, whatever you might want to call it. In that salary piece, you still have to pay self-employment taxes on. But the amount of money that you take from a dividend, a distribution, and owner's draw, you pay no self-employment tax on. So let's say you're earning $100,000. If you're set up as a sole proprietor or single member LLC, you're paying self-employment tax over and above your regular income tax rate on that $100,000. If you convert to an S corporation, you might run a salary of $50,000, pay self-employment tax on $50,000, but the remaining 50 that you take as an owner's draw or a dividend or a distribution, you're not paying self-employment tax on. So it's really kind of a big way to avoid a portion of that self-employment tax, which is 15.3%, again, over and above your regular income tax rate. And the nasty thing about self-employment tax is that it can't be offset by anything. So credits, things like that, don't offset self-employment tax. So just something to keep in mind. We do have kind of a one-page PDF that gives an example of it. It talks about some of the downsides. The biggest downside with an S corporation is that you have to run payroll. If you already have employees, it's super simple to just add yourself as an employee. Mm-hmm. And you have to file a separate business tax return. It still flows through to your personal, but you have to file a separate business tax return. Those are the only two downsides of an S corp. You remain whatever organization or however you're organized at the state level, you remain. So if you're an LLC, you remain an LLC. You're just electing to be taxed as an S corporation. So it's something to consider if you're, again, in that 30 to 40,000 plus mark. Definitely something you should be implementing immediately. If you're under that mark, again, not going to hurt you, but just something to consider as your business is growing. Once you hit that mark, definitely look into something that you want to start implementing.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Well, I appreciate you for, sharing that with us. That always, those little hacks are always great to kind of know about because a lot of people aren't aware of those things. And it kind of goes in line with what we talked about, which is, tax preparation should be something that should be done like over the year, not just something you're doing, when you're filing your taxes. So I definitely appreciate appreciate you for sharing that. So for anybody that might be just listening to this part, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you if they're not sure exactly how to set that up or where even to begin? What way could they get a hold of you to take advantage of
Yes, so they can go directly on our website. It's www.jetrotax.com, and that's JETRO tax.com. They can shoot me an email at sales@jetrotax.com, or you can always give me a phone call at 844-EASY-CPA. Any of those methods work, and they'll be able to get in touch with me or someone from our tax team that can kind of walk them through that, learn about their situation, and how it would specifically help them, and see if they're in one of those states like Tennessee where it might not make sense, but there might be other options available.
Yeah, that's what I always say, is that even if you don't know of everything or that specific method may not necessarily work, I'm sure there's a myriad of other things that you guys could probably look at based off somebody's structure and the way that they're set up, that they might be some other opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much again, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Chris.